Hey, you guys do bills.
Oh, sorry. Sleep at the wheel. Sorry, I was just thinking about that. Okay, thank you. We go on to number 4, and that's discussion or for possible action, ratify the bills. Marietta, I believe you have a removal.
Yes, we're going to remove check number 24847 in the amount of $1,925, and that was for White Pine Chamber. So with that reduction, I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills, reducing that amount to $107,665.15.
And what checks do they include?
And that includes, check 24811, through 24849, minus 24847,
And
24825 also.
it's been a motion to pay the bills with the removal of the one check for the White Pine Chamber. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Marietta moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. And then Kyle, if you want to explain about the bill on that one.
Which one was that one, the chamber one or the?
Mhm.
So the chamber one, it's our annual membership dues. We looked on the bill and I think we're being labeled wrong or categorized wrong, or being charged for employees that we no longer have anymore. It seemed a little excessive, especially compared to what other chamber dues are. So we're just gonna ask to get the rate chart and kind of how that had come to, and just see if that is legitimate. It just raised some red flags when we looked at the amount.
Dropping.
Sounds more, I think the John S. pays like 300 a year or something.
Oh, yeah,
It's quite a bit more.
yeah, little bit
Little
more.
bit.
Yeah, just a tad,
Like 5 times.
yeah.
Autopilot stuff that just needs to be dealt with,
Mhm.
probably.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, item number 5, discussion and for possible action, approval to pay the Bath lumber bill. And again, I need to disclose I have an interest in Bath lumber, so I will be abstaining.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay check number 24825 in the amount of $289.28.
Been a motion by Marietta. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1 abstention. Thank you. Number 6, update on the chamber master plan regarding the sculpture park. And Kyle, if you could start out by clarifying the ownership of the sculpture park with the 2 owners.
Yep, so Sculpture Park, the area that does not have the sculptures on it is owned by Andy and April Bath, and Economy Drug, and then the side that has the sculptures on it is owned by the Renaissance Village. And so the chamber has always been acting as the agent in the past to do the Christmas decorations and things like that. And it got to the point to where we felt like it'd be good to bring everybody that had a stake in the game, especially the property owners, to the table and kind of see what their goals were for the property, especially around like Christmas decorations and stuff like that. So we did have a meeting with Andy and April and Wayne and myself and kind of talked about what we'd like to see, and then had a follow-up meeting with Jinda to kind of go over the catalog of stuff. Essentially where we're at is still kind of just making our checklist of what items we want. Andy and April were very appreciative that we brought them in and got their input. Pretty much left it up to Wayne and I to implement what the vision was. So I think last meeting, we were estimating that if we wanted to do this all in one lump sum and just really knock Sculpture Park, out, we're probably looking at about a $10,000 to $15,000 investment for larger than life Christmas decorations that are outdoor quality, that, it would also involve permanent lighting that could be changed through the seasons, things like that. Does anybody have the ability to knock it out of the park in one swing right now? I don't, we don't, so I think it might be something where we have to piecemeal this and make it into a 3-year plan and come up with really kind of what our priorities are. So for the next meeting, I promise to have a checklist of what we're looking at, and if we were gonna divide it into three years, we're really looking at a $5,000 investment each year, which is a little bit more manageable. So The idea is go big, make it memorable, be better than Fallon's. That's our benchmark. Fallon kills it on their downtown Christmas, so, you know, that's who we're watching, so. That's the update on the master plan sculpture park. I think that the thing year round is the permanent lighting that would illuminate the sculptures, and that could be changed, you know, throughout the year for the different seasons and stuff like that. So that's all I have on the sculpture
So
park.
that will be a check, it'll be a 3-year plan presented at the next board meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, item number 7, discussion and for possible action, update on the strategic plan with the museum.
So that's also me. I did get back 4 or 5 surveys from the board. And so what I've been doing in between some of this other stuff that I'll talk about in the director's report is just compiling everybody's answers into each one of the questions. And then we need to set up a meeting with the museum board to kind of go over the answers and kind of discuss what the priorities are and what's gonna stay on and what's gonna disappear. So that was just something that got pushed to the back burner with some of the stuff that has kind of been a little bit more present that I've been having to deal with. But that is still moving forward, and I am staying in touch with Janet and letting her know kind of where I'm at in the process.
So we'll put that on the agenda that we have a finalized, okay, for agenda item, Judy. Thank you. Number 8, discussion and for possible action, funding the amount of $5,000 for the EDA planning grant application for a Trails Institute. Kyle?
All right, so you'll see in your packet, there's front and back that's essentially just kind of takes the description and the deliverables out of this grant proposal that's being written right now in kind of a partnership between Main Street Tourism, Great Basin College, the Nevada Recreation Office is on board with this, and essentially they're writing a grant for a feasibility study to develop a workforce program around standardizing a trail building program. So all across the West, people are banking on outdoor recreation, communities are building trails, they're planning for trails, but the problem is that there's not enough qualified trail builders, and anybody who's spent, you know, a day out on a trail raking it out all of a sudden thinks they're an expert trail builder, and you get these, you know, conflicts between these volunteer groups. And so through talking with all the trails organizations between Utah and Nevada and the ones that I know in California, there is a need to create a workforce that, you know, can build quality trail, that would be crew leaders, that would be, you know, supervisors. And so this program that they're talking about would include a heavy machinery operator's license, a CDL license, wilderness first responder, a Sawyer level A certification, which you're able to oversee other people using saws. When you think about those types of certifications, you're really talking about getting people's foot in the door to then expand further into other avenues for employment. So working for the Forest Service, working for fire crews, starting their own companies, it really is a way to satisfy a need both for people who have been displaced in employment or just coming into employment during the COVID pandemic. It's a way to use our mountains as a classroom to do hands-on training, which also benefits us for all the trail that we're going to be building. And it centers, and this is the part that I'm most excited about, it puts Ely in the center of educating people to become leaders in the outdoor recreation field. And so, yes, they come to Ely to get their education, to get their training in our mountains, but they go out throughout the West and become leaders, which really helps with our branding. The bottom line of this story is that this is a $200,000 grant. There is a 20% match, which is $40,000. We were going for it in one lump sum. That didn't work out, and so now the group is trying to go out and find $5,000 commitments in multiple organizations. And so there's partnership with the Ely Shoshone Tribe, there's partnership with private investors at the state and national level. We've gotten, 6 letters of support from our elected officials, so those would be from all of our senators and representatives, both at the national and the state level. And so the ask that has been asked upon Tor and Rec is can we find $5,000 somewhere to kick in? It's a 4-to-1, it's a 4-to-1 ratio, so a $5,000 match unlocks $20,000 towards this grant. And so the ROI is really good. At the end of it, we would literally be given a document that says, this is your trail building certification program, Great Basin College, now let's implement it. So, great idea, do we have $5,000 and where do we take it out of?
So Kyle, I think with the latest financials, things look a lot rosier on that, but the trails and the outdoor recreation is our #1 priority. And the big issue that we have in our community and many communities is a skilled workforce. And I think we have to invest in a skilled workforce, and especially where President Helens is bought into this from GBC, and it would be located here.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, we're gonna build all these trails, and then you come up and say, but we don't have a workforce.
Well, and what I learned through this whole process is that when you hire a trail building company, they bring their top level people and then they hire locally, you know? And so, I mean, you got a little bit of that with hiring Kaysen and realizing you can't rely on volunteers.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, you gotta pay people to come in and do this.
Well, we lost the NDF this year too.
We
Oh.
lost
So you
the
lost
honor
another
camp.
little kind of stability thing where you could do something like this and have them come in and finish up.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, overall, I think it's a good idea to at least explore it. I mean,
Right, and that's what this would be for. I mean, I think the implementation aspect of it is a whole other thing. But right now, this would be to develop, I think we all know that this would be a valuable project. They're just gonna put hard data to it so that it can be implemented. There's a lot of weekend courses, there's a lot of 2-weekend courses, but there's nothing that's standardized like this.
so they're gonna basically get this right, they're gonna build a curriculum to make this an actual degree that you're gonna come
Or
skiing to
certification.
get.
Yeah.
Certification.
And,
to get.
and this isn't just non-motorized mountain bike trail, this is also OHV trail, which is completely different type of machinery and, you know, layout, design and concept. It would also be for winter trails, so we would be looking at doing snowcat operation and repair, as well as like cross-country ski and fat bike grooming with snowmobiles. And so that, you know, that opens up wintertime employment at our ski resorts across the state. I mean, it really gets people's foot in the door to learn here and then go out and have a whole lot of options.
So I'm looking at where we are with our budget, and I think that this is really, I know it's premature, but it does look like we could take the 5,000 out of outdoor rec grants, because it is an outdoor. And I think we don't have to do the augmentation at this point, but we can see how our lodging receipts continue. But I do think that that's where it would fit in nicely, is because it is outdoor recreation.
I think that would be appropriate, and it would be very similar to the partnership, or what we did with BLM in buying the additional disc golf baskets out of outdoor recreation. So certainly there's a precedent been set for that. So yeah,
Okay, any discussion on that? Looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion that we fund $5,000 for the EDA planning grant for Trails Institute.
I'll second it.
Marietta's made a motion and Brian seconded. And any further discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Yeah, I think this is going to be wonderful. Again, we get back to our workforce, and we're the solution for that. Hard to keep expanding without the workforce.
absolutely.
Okay, number 9, discussion of possible action. Update and completion timeline of the White Pine County Facilities Guide.
Okay, so that one is back on my desk. We're working, I mean, it's not wholly on my desk, but essentially I tabled that one to accomplish a lot of the stuff that we're gonna talk about and things. So we have no progress on the facilities guide, although it is still there on my priority list. We just had a bunch of stuff jump up, so I haven't been able to make any progress on that. But that's gonna fall more on, we're at the point now where I'm starting to work with Jade on the layout and the design, but I still have to get the rest of the details for it, so.